More music, less talk.
You are now listening to Soundbooth Radio 1, music with a message. You are now listening to A Will to Worship.
We are here with Onaje Jefferson. And first of all, tell us about you, Onaje. I mean,
oh man,
tell us a little bit about you, and then we'll go into some details because I got questions.
Brooklyn boy,
yes,
grew up here in Crown Heights area.
Yes, so we both from the same area. I'm from Crown Heights,
right here on the Parkway. And, attended church at Brooklyn Tabernacle. Man, I started going to BT as a jet cadet. So,
that's junior high school.
Yeah,
I definitely
absolutely.
was a jet cadet.
Junior high ministry. Mm-hmm. You know, had my sash and all my little, I don't even know what you call those things, little badges or whatever. Mm-hmm. And joined the youth choir, youth ministry from there. And that's really where I got a hold of the Lord. Mm-hmm. Or I should say the Lord got a hold of me.
Right.
Yeah, that's the way it should be said. And what impressed me the most, or just laid a deep impression on my heart, was seeing young people calling on the name of the Lord, worshiping God and sincerely crying out to God. And I didn't quite have language for what was happening, but what I sensed in my heart was so real and significant. I knew I needed what they were experiencing. And I just learned how to open up my heart. And when I was 18, on my way out of the youth ministry, that's when I gave my heart to the Lord in 1998. Nice. Turned 18 and really made my decision to follow Christ, and joined the choir from there at Brooklyn Tab, and really started to, I guess, hone this gift and, of singing and leading worship. And it's been quite a journey, led to me writing some songs with Carol Simbla and Jason Webb, who are both at Brooklyn Tab this day. And it's just been beautiful just to see God's progression.
Mm-hmm. The levels to it, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yes,
we're going to
talk about
the process. I mean, there's so much that goes on with once God gives you a vision and a desire for something, it doesn't, just happen.
Not at all.
We'll talk about that. It reminds me of Joseph.
Yeah.
But, okay, so that's actually how I met Onaje. I was in a youth ministry as well. I started I started being at Brooklyn Tab since I was 6. I attended Brooklyn Tab since I was 6, and then I joined I got saved at 9 there, joined the choir. And that's when, like what he said, I really started honing in on, wow, there's young people who love the Lord too. Like it's not just a adult thing,
right.
It's something that you could be yourself, you could be cool, you can just be you.
And love Jesus.
But love Jesus. Right. And so I remember Onaje singing in the choir, and I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know that you had this gift. Honestly, I guess I don't know where I was, but I didn't know you had this gift. Oh, see?
I had
okay.
no idea. I was just singing.
That's why.
And yeah, I mean, man. Yeah.
So you at 18 years old, you gave your life to the Lord, but then also God gave you a vision. What was that about?
Absolutely. When I gave my heart to the Lord, I remember it like it was yesterday. I walked home that day. I was on a cloud. I was higher than any other cloud ever.
Cloud 9,000,
99,000, right? And on my walk home, I just saw myself singing on the stage. I saw people worshiping God, and at that time, my heroes, which still are today, Kirk Franklin and Fred Hammond, who were very much the first voices in gospel music that I heard at that time, man. And I would envision myself on the stage with them, right?
Wow.
And something it was very real. Though it was like a dream, it was tangible. It just seemed very significant, like this was something that God would, be leading me to or just wanted me to do. And from that point on, I was really passionate about serving the Lord through music ministry. And, I joined the choir shortly after. Actually, Carol let me in a little early because I wouldn't stop bothering her.
Really?
I just wanted to sing for the Lord. I wanted to be a part of that ministry. You sit there Sunday after Sunday, and your heart is touched, and you're drawn into the presence of God. And I just love the fact that music just had a way of getting to the heart,
Exactly.
So yeah, she let me in the choir a little early, and man, it was wonderful, just the times in rehearsals, mean, we didn't really go after learning the songs as much as we went after encountering the presence of the Lord.
Whoa,
And
that's really good.
That was just incredible.
That's the key.
Yeah, that was a great foundation to have. We pursued the presence of God, and found out that he was pursuing us.
Yeah.
Man, there were some rehearsals where we wouldn't even get to sing the songs for Sunday. We would be lost in the presence of God. It was beautiful.
Awesome.
Beautiful. So,
and you were 18 and all this stuff.
yeah. So, I mean, like, I'm getting all this just heaven pouring into my life, through this. Right. Literally, right?
That's cool.
So, those were the beginnings for me.
That's
And it
awesome.
just continued to light the fire, for, I believe, what I'm just beginning to walk in now.
Yeah, I mean, and it's so funny because you said it's just beginning, but you've
Yeah.
been doing this for a while, so since 18. And that's a huge deal, guys, because I mean, I went up for the choir, and they were like, no, twice, and I was like, all right, you know what I'm saying? It's okay,
man.
even though this is like the 5th choir I've been in, not that
Right.
choir, sorry, I've been in like 5 choirs. But that one I never felt like I was called to ministry in music at all.
Yeah.
So, God positions you for where he wants you to go, because he
Right.
gives you that vision, but he's not going to leave you in that vision. He's going to make
Come
sure
on.
certain doors are open so you can
Right.
get there. So that was key. I mean, one thing he said that was key is he pretty much was being very persistent with Carol. Very,
Very
very
much.
important.
I
You
was
got to be
kicking the door
persistent.
down.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to do that. If that's
Yeah.
what God gave you, then that's the beginning of it. And then 2, you said that oh man, how did I forget what you said? You said the ad, and then you went into
Just talking about, pursuing God.
Thank you. So
in
you
those
knew
rehearsals.
it.
Yeah.
Pursuing
That's
God
what
more
it's
than
about.
the music. That was what it was.
I'll never forget, I think 3 months into being in the choir, she was aware that I was a part of the youth ministry there. I had a meeting with her, and I mean, I was so geesed up. I couldn't believe I'm about to sit down and meet with Carol Cymbala.
Carol
Wow.
Cymbala. And Brooklyn Tabernacle, if you don't know it, guys, is a huge, huge, huge church.
Huge.
I
Very
mean,
influential.
Yeah, in the community. And so being from Brooklyn, a lot of people know about Brooklyn Tab, but if you
Right.
don't, actually around the world.
Yeah,
People know
it's
about Brooklyn
become a
Tab.
lighthouse,
Yeah, so it's
for
huge
many
to
churches.
sit down with the pastor's wife.
I'm sitting with her, she's got all these accolades under her belt and everything. And, she tells me, Onaje, God's given you a gift.
Wow.
But you know what? More importantly than using your gift, I want to see you have a foundation in the things of God.
Nice.
And that was our first conversation. I'm thinking she's going to let, hey, we want you to try this song and do that. And we want to start using you. So I'm like, I'm super amped up, And not that she wasn't saying that, but she made a point by saying what's more important than you using your gift is having a foundation in the Lord. And, man, and I left that room. I just was like, wow, okay, this is serious. This is not just singing, but this is something of God, and I want to be faithful to the Lord and submitting my gift to him, and just learning what that's all about, and making sure that it's not me when I'm singing, but Christ in me. So
key.
The Lord started to put people around me to really father me and be mentors and big brothers and all that stuff, and that foundation started to grow and continues to grow. So that was key, man. Just the tone that she set, with me and everybody that comes into maybe doing solos or whatever leadership position.
Yeah.
She made sure she set that tone with me and let me know this is not about just being talented. This is about being submitted to the Lord.
And that's how you're definitely going to have work. Because this is not just like, okay, I'm going to perform.
Right,
like,
right.
This is worship. You're leading worship. And so
Right.
that's where it really comes down. I don't know if you guys ever, but for me, I have sat in the choir, not the choir, so I sat in the sanctuary, and it was either Onaje or somebody singing or leading, and I was moved to tears because it was that touching. It brought me to the feet of Christ, you know? And so that's the point of it. And that's why you need to have that relationship with Christ. So you had, so another thing you said was you had brothers, or you can say big brothers or mentors that helped
figures,
you.
all that, yeah.
Did you grow up with your dad?
I did not in the home. There were periods where my dad was in the home, but more so, I didn't grow up with a
consistent
a father figure, you know. So at Brooklyn Tabernacle, you know, man, this church was so significant in my formation as a young man. You know, gave me examples and youth leaders and choir leaders to really follow, to set my eyes on. You know, as Paul said, you know, follow me as I follow Christ.
Yes.
And God gave me Pauls to look at, you know, as a young Timothy, you know, as an apprentice in the things of God. And I'm so blessed. I'm still in contact with so many of them, you know, even though many have left and went on to other things, man, but they're still there in my life. So
that's awesome.
That was huge. That's huge.
Very awesome.
Yeah.
I know you said Pastor Tyrone, Uncle Lincoln. I mean, they've been great men in my life as well. And so when I saw, I'm actually reading the back.
I made sure I got.
He got names on here. Pastor
There's so many. Yeah.
You know,
Leroy, Pops.
Yeah. So all these people have, even if because me being a female, I had female leaders, but it was great to see that interaction between the guys in the youth ministry and the men in the youth ministry.
Oh, yeah.
I saw that.
It was strong.
You know, and
strong.
Very strong. And so we appreciate, and shout out to any man or any woman that's spending time with children that's not, you know, not biologically yours.
Your labor is not in vain.
Yes.
Be encouraged.
Seriously.
Even if we look like we're not getting it or we're not listening, it's going into our hearts.
Exactly.
And it's going to bud. It's going to come to fruition.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yes. No, seriously. Because I mean, like I told you before, and I say this often, I work with youth right now as my profession. Right. And I know that I'm in the seed planting business. Yep. I might see it grow. I might see it flourish. But I know that is not about me. It's about just pointing them to who God is and definitely planting those seeds. So throughout life, there's going to be things in life through the process of life that's going to water it and grow.
Absolutely.
So you had a great foundation there. And then you had that desire. You had the desire to really find that relationship with God. Yeah. You had the men in your life. And from there, you started singing in the choir solo.
Yeah, started doing some solos and eventually.
Which is big because if the choir is like 300 people deep, it's probably more than that. It's
just a lot of, great singers. I mean, you know, it ranges anywhere between 275 and 300 people.
Exactly.
You know, at any given time. So there's just a lot of people, great singers. There's a smaller group within the context of the choir called the singers.
Yeah.
And to be able to be a part of that group and also be able to, you know, lead solos. I mean, it was an honor. It was an honor. I mean, you know. So, yeah, that progressed into eventually, which I never saw coming. You know, I went on a youth retreat. And Pastor Tyrone was the youth leader, and he just asked me, you know, hey, why don't you lead worship on on this retreat? And I was like, all right, cool. You know, I was directing youth choir at the time. I knew all the songs. I was like, hey, it's all good. Nothing, you know, small group of people.
Right.
This will be a one weekend thing, and it'll never happen again. I'm great.
Right.
And little did I know, you know, he was a little bit of recon work going on. So I get back. After that weekend, we had a great weekend out there, and you know, I have a meeting with Pastor Simbla, and he says, "Hey, you know, we'd love for you to start, you know, leading worship here at the church." Pastor Tyrone told me you did a great job. I was like, "Oh man,
you was on
set up."
Right, you pretty much were set up.
Set up.
I mean, to be honest, our whole life I feel like it's set up.
You know what? Yeah.
If you want to look at it in that way,
mean, just set up. But
yeah, pretty much.
I was so nervous. I never saw that
coming.
Never. Oh man, you know, I mean, so many great worship leaders coming through, and you know, Brooklyn Tabernacle up to the time of me leading, and I was so nervous, you know, but as I walked in it and you know, submitted to the Lord and said, God, you got to help me with this. You know, people are coming in here on Sundays with all type of situations,
right?
And you know, they need to hear from you. They need a touch from you, and you know, and the Lord helped me. Big time. He helped me, you know, not just being a song leader, because anybody can just sing through songs.
Exactly.
But really getting to the place where you get in the heart, you know, and you really provoke the heart to open up before God. And as God was, you know, tearing away the calluses in my life and giving me a tender heart, absolutely, then you're able to lead from a place of conviction, and a place of, you know, just it's just real because it's taking place in your life. Not that you're perfect or that you've arrived, but you can't take people where you haven't gone first.
Yes.
And I learned how to have my own little secret place, and out of that place with God in my own devotional time and my own times of worship, it just overflowed on Sundays.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Absolutely. You're supposed to just live and lead out of the overflow.
Exactly. Exactly. So we're going to get into some music.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that key that he just dropped. We'll talk about that for. And Jesus at the Center.
Come on.
Israel New Breed. We'll talk about that as well when we get back. So this is Jesus at the Center by Israel Horton and the New Breed. So one of the reasons why we chose this song is because Onaje actually is a part of the New Breed.
Part of the crew, yeah.
He
about
is
3 years now.
Wow, that's crazy. So we talked about how Onaje was a part of the choir at Brooklyn Tab and how he came to become a singer, not only a singer in the choir, but like one of the singers, the soloist. And then what happened after that?
Man, started, after leading worship. I was leading worship there for about 8 years. It was about
What?
7 or 8 years. Yeah.
That's a long time. I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah, it was a little minute. And I'll never forget one of my most nerve-wracking days was the first time Israel was coming to the church because, everybody has that guy or girl or artist who they just aspire to be like,
Exactly.
Kind of like a blueprint. And for me, amongst a few others, man, he was key. He was so
That's
key.
crazy.
And I really followed the music and just the intent. I could hear the heart intent behind what he was doing, bridging sounds like R&B, gospel, but giving like a classical feel to it, but then making it a little contemporary edge, just making it palatable for everybody to grab something
And that's the point.
And that just, that grabbed me. I mean, I was like, wow, if I do music, I want to do it like that. So I just would, look through that lens and everything. I absorbed everything. If he was at a free concert anywhere in the tri-state area, I was there. And then I learned that he's coming to the church. And, man, that Saturday night, because I would get, with my songs, just kind of go through what I was feeling, a few songs and stuff. I couldn't get a song together. I mean, I was all in myself. I was like, man, if he's in the service, I might want to do something like this because this might show a little bit of my range. And then, then transit. This is real rhythmic, so he's going to think that's cool. And then at the end of the night, I mean, I was at my little keyboard at the time for, man, I want to say maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours just wrestling with how can I do a set that's going to impress Israel, right?
That's crazy.
Just being honest. And then the Lord just said, why don't you just do what you do every Sunday, which is just entertain me? Why don't you sing a song to me?
What about me?
Why don't we do that? Why don't you worship me?
Right.
And let me take care of everyone else and everything else. And actually, I had no set list for that Sunday. I got up every service. I just was like, Lord, you're going to have to lead me. And the Lord did. We had a beautiful time that Sunday. And it was pretty cool because the service he walked in, as soon as I kind of saw him walk in, I just closed my eyes. The whole 35 minutes, I didn't open my eyes one bit, man. And I peeked for a second. And I just, I thought it was cool. I just saw Israel in the middle of the aisle, just with his hands up to the Lord. Yes. I just kind of took a quick little picture of that, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna store that away.
A mental picture.
That's if I never get a trophy in life, that's my trophy right there.
Yes.
Able to see someone who's been leading me, I've been able to
lead.
Be led of the Lord to lead.
Right.
And man, from there, I don't know how it happened, but that night we exchanged contacts. Man, he encouraged me. Just said the Lord, his hand is on your life, and I'd love to keep in contact with you. And 2 years from that point, we just every month or so we would keep contact, keep tabs. Man, he would just, how you doing? How's things going at the church?
That's crazy.
So just this mutual friendship and encouragement. And then in 2010, he came in 2008. In 2010. I've been going to the conferences that we do every year called Deeper Level, which is like, if you're a worship leader, worship pastor, even if you're not in music at the church, please, you've got to find your way to Houston in August. We do it Middle of August
is that
every year.
his?
Yeah, it's the New Breed Conference.
Okay.
You know, we have speakers that come. This past year, we had Cheryl Brady, Fred Hammond
I love
came,
her.
Stephen Furtick, John Gray.
I love him.
It
When?
was just it's normally I want to say the middle of August, middle to the end of August.
Why
I don't
haven't
have
I
the
known
dates
about
right
this?
now for this year. I should have got them before I came.
What?
But if you go to deeperconferences.com, you can find out pre-registration, the whole deal for this year's conferences. So that's what really got the New Breed heart into me. And I was just like, you know what? I just felt like God was aligning my heart to this ministry, the way they align worship and justice,
Nice.
yeah, just
nice.
really going beyond the song, worship beyond just the music. Now, what do we do with this presence of God that we experience
Yes.
after our services?
Yes.
How do we carry that out to the world around us? And man, I mean, God was working in my heart, and I really felt some way that we'd be working together. And I hung out. I stayed a day over after the conference, and he goes, "Hey man, you think you'd be up to doing some stuff with us?" And
What? That's how you said it
man,
too. Wait, how did you say that?
Just literally like that. Hey
Stuff
man,
with us? Like I
be
can't
up to
do
doing
it.
some stuff with us.
That's how he talks.
I was like, I think I
I
know.
know. I've known this from like birth.
So yeah, about a year from there, man, 2011. I sat down with Pastor and Carol, and they blessed my wife and I, and
Yes.
said, be led of the Lord. We love you. You've been a blessing here. You can, just support you in prayer. And they prayed us through it. And yeah, I've been with Israel and New Breed for the past 3 years now.
That's so cool. Yo, it like we were talking about this on the break. It is amazing how God opens up doors that you would never think you would go through.
Yeah,
Somebody that you've been listening to for years, now you're like texting on a regular basis,
right.
calling
You're
on
like
and he's calling
standing
you
on stage,
right?
with them,
Like that's just
and,
amazing.
serving with them, it
It's
is.
only God, because if
Yep.
he gives you a vision, he's not going to leave you there. And so one of the things that you said before we got and how am I forgetting these things? You said it before we went on
I'm
to
probably
Jesus
saying
at
too
the
much.
Center. No, because I'm while you're talking, I'm thinking of points that really are key. And we talked about prior to we playing Jesus at the Center.
Yeah.
I can't remember. But anyway, the point is God definitely opens up doors
He does.
for you if he gives you that vision. And I think
Delight
it's
yourself
amazing.
in the Lord, right? And he will give you the desires of your heart.
Don't matter how big it is. Like when you see these people on television or you just feel like things are just too big,
Yep.
trust and believe. He'll make that distance like nothing.
And the key is to delight,
Delight,
it's really to
right.
make the Lord your treasure, make the Lord your priority, to make the Lord your passion,
Yep.
and to pray for that passion and desire, because, our human nature is anti-God. So
Yes.
we want to do our own thing. Our flesh wars against
Yep.
our spirit, so you got to pray for that passion and desire, that the Lord would give that to you, that he would be the center of your heart, that he would be the desire of your heart. And when that happens, when he becomes your delight, then he gives you his desires, and then it's not just you having a dream within yourself, but it's God's dream placed in you.
Yes.
And
Yep.
those are the things that he unveils, and in time he brings you to, and he gives you the faith to believe for, and the perseverance to withstand the challenges and the discouragements that come, and the transition and the process of it all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because one of the things I wanted to ask you is that those 8 years that you were at Brooklyn Tab and you were just there, how did you feel? Did you get discouraged at some point thinking?
Honestly, man, there were times where, and it's because you feel something on the inside of you that you're not
Exactly.
seeing yet.
Yep.
And it's that's where trust and patience and prayer really come in. And yeah, there were many times, and it's so funny because you're still doing what's in your heart to do, but you feel like there's
more.
something else,
There's
that
more.
you're not
Yeah.
really getting at the moment. And so that's a tension there. How do you stay faithful to what you're doing, where God has called you to do it, but then also how do you stay persistent and prayerful, and know that there's some other things that God is calling you to reach for.
Right.
And that's a hard place to be
It's
in,
a hard
man.
place.
But
Very hard.
again, God had put a lot of people around me to encourage me in the things of God, and His plans for my life. And the Lord really started to send people that I'm telling you, I would not had one conversation about what was going on internally. And, people would send me an email or, an embrace on a Sunday, and then they would get a word from the Lord, that would resonate so deeply with what was going on inside of me. So God, He sees that tension, and He comes to you and He speaks right to that thing, right? He's not going to lead you in temptation.
Right.
So when you're struggling with tensions in your life, about what His plan or His will is for you, He's gonna speak right into that, through His word, time in prayer, or through sending people with a word of knowledge, in that moment. And man, I held on to those words and trusted God that in His timing He would bring them to come to pass. And that's the hard thing, not going ahead of God.
Yes.
That's the hard thing.
What?
So.
That was one of the things I was going to say to you is that one of the key things that He said in the process is staying in that process. And that, some people say, this is not happening, so I'm probably doing the wrong thing. Let me do this.
Right. Let me
do something else.
Right.
Let me, I don't know, preach or something. I mean, I'm not saying that you're not called to preach, but
or try and make your own doors. Right.
Yeah, and that's worse.
Thing is, if somebody once said to me, if you initiate something, then it's up to you to sustain it. But if God initiates something,
it's up to Him.
Then it's up to Him to do it. And I'd rather be in the latter. I'd rather God, have to sustain the thing, because only His hands and His arms are strong enough to do that.
Exactly.
So our strength fails.
Exactly.
But He fails not. He never sleeps, never slumbers. He never grows weary. So I'd rather be in the hands of God, who doesn't grow weary, than me try and do something and know eventually my strength is going to run out. My resources are going to run out. So I would pray that God, help me to realize if I'm pushing on things that I don't need to be, and the Lord really did that. He really did. He never fails, man.
Trust Him. So what song do you want me to play? Because so we didn't even get into this, but we're definitely going to get into this. He has an album, y'all, and I said, Mr. Jefferson. Please explain to us, how did it happen? You have this EP, Heaven Rain. Tell us how that came about.
Well, it's been a while. People in the church, man, you should do a project, I think God has that for you. And I never felt it until January of this year.
Oh, really?
2014.
Wow.
I was just asking the Lord, all right, God, am I stepping in everything that you've called me to, and asking that question because I felt like there was something that in this season that God was calling me to do that I wasn't walking in. And a lot of it was just being self-conscious or fear or, because once you do a project, you put yourself out there. It's easy to get behind everybody else's stuff,
right?
But to walk out your own thing, you're presenting yourself, right? I was just wrestling with all that and the judgments and all that stuff. But I said to the Lord, I said, you know what? I really feel like it was time to get behind just some conversations I was having with God, and I felt the Lord saying it's time to start putting these things into songs and encouraging people's hearts. So all these songs are just prayers that I've been praying and journal thoughts, stuff in my phone or whatever. Just conversations I've been having with God over the past year. And I just put them into about 6-7 songs.
And so now you can say, well, you've been writing prior to, right?
Yeah, prior to writing with Carol and at the Brooklyn Tabernacle, wrote on 3 of their past 3 projects.
Nice. Then this one that just passed, right?
This one as well. No, not this one. The 3 prior to.
So what songs can we say? Did you write I Surrender?
No, actually didn't write that one. I sang that one. But they had a Christmas project, their current Christmas project that's out. I co-wrote on their last project. I believe it's called Let Your Kingdom Come.
Yeah.
Something like that. Co-wrote on that, and We Declare Your Name.
Yeah.
Co-wrote that on that one.
Cool.
As well. Yeah.
Okay, so you wrote every song on this album?
Every song. These are all prayers. So I'm just kind of finding a way to articulate my prayers into song form. So
That's so cool.
yeah, just it was so funny because when I started doing it, as the musician in me was like, all right, we need this kind of song, we need this kind of radio song, and then we got to have this kind of up song going. And I mean, everything was just hitting the ceiling and coming right back down. All right. And,
Do your thing.
and then the Lord just said, why don't you just write the prayers, write what you've been talking to me about. And I'm telling you, in 2 weeks, conceptually, I had everything I needed to write.
It's, you know what? It's so crazy how God is like, well, why don't you do this?
Yeah, I got a better way.
Right.
There you go, trying to do you.
Always try to do you. I mean, and I'm laughing
Yeah.
because he does that to me all the time. He's like, how about we just keep it simple?
Right.
And do what I've been showing you to do, because I've been grooming you for a long time, but you just haven't known it. Crazy, right?
Why don't you trust my ways?
Right. It's always better than yours.
Yep. So finally said, okay, Lord, you probably know what you're saying. And,
Probably, yeah.
yeah, I look at it now. I'm still like, wow, I really can't believe that this has happened.
That you have an album.
Yeah.
So are you part of a label or
Independent right now?
Whoa. So you had to
Any
get the
label
money
execs out there?
for this.
Hey, here I am. Yeah. So I mean, my wife and I, we, that I want to just give a huge shout out to my wonderful, beautiful 9 years married, happy,
What were you,
loving
2
each
years
other.
old when you got married? Like,
Almost.
you were young.
I got to give a huge shout out
mean-
to my wife, man, because she really, I'll be very honest. I can remember we were on our way home. We were both working at the church, and we were listening to a CD. And she said things of this sort a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot who we were listening to, but we had this CD in the car, and she said to me, "You can do that." But it was the way she said it. She says,
Like-
I
like
really see
nothing.
you doing that. And it really started the questions and man, I wonder if
Can
God
I
really
do
would
that?
have something like that for me.
Right.
So that little simple encouragement or simple, just, yeah, that simple statement, man. And here we are. So
Gentlemen,
yep.
Listen to
He
the
that
ladies.
findeth a wife,
Find
amen.
A good thing.
Good thing.
A
And
good thing.
favor. Favor from the Lord. Definitely
Right.
so, man.
And I think a lot of guys, they
been
just
a-
don't think that, but it's really
I'll tell
true.
you something. She's been an encouraging force in my life. So
Right. After the
Yes.
Lord, he thanked her second. Ooh.
come on, Jesus, my wife.
Right.
Better
Now,
believe it.
that's a good place to be.
Put me on no couch.
Right. I want to stay upstairs
Yes.
at all times.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we have Heaven Rain. You've written all the songs on this album, which is so cool. Like I was saying, God has been grooming you,
Yeah.
from day one, and then you kind of noticed it at 18, and then the stages just pretty much
Yep.
enhanced from there. So tell me about My Desire. That was that was the last song that
Yeah.
we played. What was that about?
My mom used to pray Psalm 1 over me.
Oh.
So,
Mama.
that's where my desire comes from. Blessed is the man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, or sits in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the law of the Lord. And he meditates day and night. And just really asking the Lord to align my heart again, as we were speaking of earlier, to really making God, making his will, making his word my delight, and really not having anything before him or before that.
Yep.
Not having any other ambition or desire before that. So from there, just writing, Lord, you've called me your own. You gave your life so I would know your love. There's nothing you wouldn't do. You gave everything so that I could get to you. So from what you've given to me, Lord, my delight is you.
Wow.
My desire is you.
Wow.
And, so yeah, just a prayer of just intimacy and this love relationship that that I'm in forever. Nothing can separate me from just a revelation of his love and me being his delight. So
Exactly.
that revelation that I can delight in him because he first delighted in me.
Exactly.
And would give his best in his son for me. So that's my desire, just that people would come to that revelation through hearing that lyric. Remind them of the depth of the love of Christ.
Wow. And that's just the point of it all.
Absolutely.
That's the point.
How high, how wide, right?
Right.
How deep is the Father's love for us?
Right. And so with that being said, we got to go. That happened so quick.
Come on. Well, we got to do this again tomorrow.
Right. We have a whole hour went by so quick, but you guys got to go get Heaven Rain.
Yes. OnajeJefferson.com, iTunes, Google Play, however you get your music.
Right.
You can get Heaven Rain. Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Onaje. It's been a pleasure. I hope you guys definitely learned all the nuggets along the way he's talked about from 18 years old, giving his life to Christ. That was the main point. And then
biggest nugget of all.
Exactly. And then everything else after that. So with that being said, remember to love yourself, love people, love God. And this is the Will to Worship, y'all, where your worship is for real. Later.
No failure greater than His grace.